The message was sent 3 hours ago. You know they may be busy. You know that looking at the screen again will not make the reply arrive. Still, your hand reaches for the phone. You open the conversation. You read your own words. You consider sending another message to explain the first one. For a moment, doing something feels better than waiting. Then the screen goes dark, and the answer is still not there. This is the real tension. The issue is not action versus inaction. It is faithful responsibility versus using action to demand a guarantee that does not belong to us. One action meets a duty. The other tries to make the future surrender. Long before there were screens to refresh, Israel's first king stood inside that same pressure. An enemy was gathering. His people were leaving. The man he had been told to wait for had not arrived. Saul had real responsibilities, but fear was changing what responsibility seemed to allow. Why does waiting make control feel so necessary? And how can you tell which action is truly yours to take? Waiting looks passive from the outside. Inside, it can feel like relentless work. The body sits still while the mind writes 10 futures, rejects 9, and starts again. It studies a conversation for clues. It rehearses what to say if the answer is yes, then prepares for no. It tries to arrive early at a future that has not arrived at all. Sometimes the work becomes visible. You refresh the inbox. You check the medical portal. You ask someone whether they are sure. You send a follow-up before the first message has had time to breathe. You replace yesterday's reasonable plan because uncertainty made it feel unsafe today. None of these actions is automatically wrong. Checking a result can be responsible. Following up can be wise. Planning for several outcomes can protect people from avoidable harm. Urgency is real when someone is in danger, a deadline is closing, or a symptom needs medical attention. The important question is what the action is trying to accomplish. Two people can check the same inbox. One expects a decision at noon and needs it for the next step. The other checked 30 seconds ago and knows nothing new can be there. Yet another check offers a few seconds of movement. It feels better than having no lever to pull. Waiting can also touch the fear beneath the answer. If they do not reply, perhaps I do not matter. If the result is bad, perhaps I will not cope. If the opportunity closes, perhaps this was my last chance. If God remains silent, perhaps I have been forgotten. The unknown becomes more than missing information. It begins to feel like a verdict forming behind a closed door, when not knowing feels like danger. Control begins to look like protection. Psychologists use the term intolerance of uncertainty. It is not a diagnosis. It describes a tendency to react strongly when important information is missing or the future cannot be predicted. Everyone has a limit for uncertainty. We want to know whether a bridge is safe, whether the medicine is correct, whether a person can be trusted. The pattern becomes costly when the absence of an answer feels unacceptable by itself. The mind is no longer only asking what might happen. It is making a demand. I cannot be all right until I know. Research across many studies has found that greater difficulty with uncertainty is associated with less helpful ways of handling emotion and with lower use of more adaptive strategies. This does not prove one cause for every anxious habit. It does show that our relationship with the unknown is meaningfully connected to how we handle distress. A loop can grow from that connection. First, there is a real gap in knowledge. You do not know what the scan will show, why the person became quiet, or whether the work will be accepted. Second, the mind adds a demand. The thought moves from not knowing to needing to know now. Uncertainty stops feeling like limited information and starts feeling personally unbearable. Third, The mind finds an action that can shrink the feeling. It checks, asks again, searches for another opinion, rehearses every response, or chooses too early because any answer feels cleaner than holding two possibilities. Fourth, the action creates a brief sense of movement. The refresh symbol spins. The plan becomes more detailed. Activity borrows the emotional appearance of control. Then the information remains unavailable. The other person still has freedom. The result still belongs to tomorrow. The sense of movement fades, and another check begins to look reasonable. Direct evidence about particular checking behavior is narrower than the broader research on uncertainty. A recent clinical study connected difficulty with uncertainty to longer checking through distress about things not feeling right. That finding is useful, but it comes from a specific group and task. The loop is a pattern that can happen, not a verdict about everyone who checks a phone. Another study adds an important detail. People higher in worry and difficulty with uncertainty could still recognize information showing that a situation was safer. The facts were not invisible, yet recognizing safety and feeling settled did not always move together. You may know the doctor said the delay is normal and still read the portal as if a hidden warning might appear. You may know a friend has been reliable for years, yet one unanswered message feels louder than all the answered ones. The mind may be asking facts to do a job they cannot perform. Information can guide a decision. It cannot promise that nothing painful will happen. Preparation can reduce preventable risk. It cannot remove another person's freedom. The deeper request is not simply to know what is likely. It is to be promised that you cannot be hurt. Once every gap feels like a task, attention leaves the present. You can sit at dinner while living inside tomorrow's meeting. You can hear a child speaking while part of you reads an email that has not been written. The pressure also reaches other people. A reasonable question becomes a second request for reassurance, then a third. No answer feels complete because another person is being asked to remove an uncertainty no human answer can permanently carry. Control can also close a door too early. Someone ends a conversation before being rejected, refuses an opportunity before being evaluated, or forces a decision before enough evidence exists. A chosen loss can feel easier than an unknown outcome. Even faith can become a control system. Prayer becomes a demand for a private guarantee. A verse becomes a prediction about the exact result. Calm is treated as proof that God is near. But faith was never a method for owning tomorrow. That is where Saul's story becomes more than an early reference. It gives the pressure a boundary, and then shows what happens when the boundary starts to feel negotiable. The story unfolds during Israel's transition to monarchy. Saul has been made king. His office carries real authority, and it also carries limits. Earlier, in 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 8, the prophet Samuel gives Saul a specific instruction. Saul is to go down to Gilgal and wait 7 days. Samuel will come, offer sacrifices, and show him what to do. This is not casual advice about becoming more patient. It belongs to Saul's calling and to the ordered relationship between prophet, king, and the command of the Lord. By chapter 13, the setting has become dangerous. Saul's son Jonathan has struck a Philistine garrison, and the conflict has widened. The Philistines gather a force that appears overwhelming. The King James Version describes chariots, horsemen, and people as numerous as the sand on the seashore. The Israelites see that they are in danger. Some hide in caves, thickets, rocks, high places, and pits. Others cross the Jordan to get away. Those who remain with Saul are trembling. This matters because Saul is not reacting to a minor inconvenience. He is watching military danger increase while public confidence in him collapses. He is king. People expect him to lead. Every visible sign says the situation is slipping out of his hands. Saul waits 7 days, according to the time Samuel had appointed. But Samuel has not arrived at the point Saul expects, and the people are scattering from him. The text lets the pressure accumulate without pretending it is imaginary. Then Saul takes control of the moment. He orders the burnt offering to be brought and offers it himself. The timing is painful. As soon as Saul finishes the offering, Samuel arrives. Samuel asks him a direct question. "What hast thou done?" Saul answers with a list of facts. The people were scattering. Samuel had not come within the expected time. The Philistines were gathering. Saul believed they might attack before he had made supplication to the Lord. His explanation ends with a striking line in the King James Version. "I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering." Saul presents the act as reluctant necessity. He did not describe himself as seizing power for pleasure. He described circumstances that seemed to leave no responsible alternative. The king had to do something. The people needed stability. The enemy was near. Samuel was absent. But the narrative does not accept that he had no choice. Samuel tells Saul that he has acted foolishly and has not kept the commandment of the Lord. The issue is not that Saul felt pressure. The pressure was real. The issue is that pressure became permission to cross a boundary he had been given. We should not turn Saul into a modern diagnosis. First, Samuel does not say he had an anxiety disorder or intolerance of uncertainty, nor does the passage teach that every urgent decision is rebellion. It is a narrative about Israel's king, covenant obedience, authority, and a command he did not keep. Still, the story may illuminate a recognizable human pattern. Saul could not control Samuel's arrival. He could not control the Philistine army. He could not force frightened people to remain. What remained within his control was whether he would act inside the responsibility and limit he had received. Instead, he reached beyond that limit to make the moment feel governable again. His sacrifice did not remove the enemy. It did not restore the scattered people. It did not make Samuel arrive. It gave Saul an immediate action while the outcome remained outside his hands. This is not merely a warning to wait longer. Saul had waited. The deeper question is what waiting revealed when the appointed time seemed to fail him. Would the command still define his action? Or would visible pressure redefine what faithfulness allowed? The story refuses an easy answer in which trust means feeling calm. Saul's fear is not measured, and emotional calm is never made the test. The narrative measures his action against a boundary he already knew. That distinction matters. Faithful responsibility can exist with shaking hands. It does not require the feeling of certainty, but it does require that pressure not become its own authority. Psychology and scripture are not saying the same thing in different languages. Research on uncertainty describes patterns in how people may respond to missing information and distress. First, Samuel gives a theological and moral narrative about a king who crosses a known boundary. Research does not prove the passage, and the passage is not a clinical model. Placed beside each other, they sharpen the same practical question. What is this action for? Responsible action deals with what has truly been entrusted to you. It gathers available information, protects someone in danger, meets a deadline, asks a necessary question, or prepares for a likely outcome. It may be quick and decisive. Grasping for control has a different center. Its first goal is to stop the feeling of not knowing. That is why it asks more from action than action can give. It asks another person to guarantee a relationship, a test result to guarantee the future, or prayer to guarantee a preferred outcome. The dividing line is not action on one side and passivity on the other. It is responsibility on one side and ownership of the outcome on the other. Trust does not mean ignoring facts, refusing help, remaining in danger, or missing a real obligation. It also does not guarantee the ending you want. The message may still hurt. The result may change your life. The opportunity may close. Faithful action is smaller and more honest. It asks what belongs to this moment, then refuses to pretend that one more lever can make tomorrow a possession. When waiting tightens around your attention, begin with one sentence. What exactly do I not know? Make the answer precise. I do not know why they have not replied. I do not know what the result will show. I do not know whether the application was accepted. Do not attach the conclusion that usually follows. Missing information does not yet mean rejection, disaster, or abandonment. Naming the gap will not remove the emotion. Its purpose is to separate what is unknown from what fear has already decided it means. Next, separate responsibility from guarantee. Ask what is genuinely yours to do now. There may be a clear action. Send one message, call the clinic during office hours, prepare the document, ask for counsel, or meet the deadline. If someone is in danger, seek appropriate help. Waiting is not faithful when action is required. Then, identify the result you are trying to guarantee. Perhaps the second message is supposed to prevent rejection. Perhaps another search is supposed to make illness impossible. Perhaps a perfect plan is supposed to remove every chance of embarrassment. Put the two answers on opposite sides of a page. On one side is the next responsibility. On the other is the outcome no present action can promise. Take the responsible step without pretending it owns the result. Finally, give every check a purpose and a time. Before opening the inbox or asking again, ask what new information could reasonably be available now. If the office said results will appear tomorrow, checking every 5 minutes tonight cannot serve information. It may only be serving the desire to feel certain. Choose the next check based on reality, not on a rigid rule. A health situation, work system, or caregiving role may require close monitoring. Another situation may need one follow-up in the morning. The purpose is not to prove self-control. It is to make the action answer to a real responsibility. For a Christian viewer, this distinction can shape prayer. You can name what you do not know, say what you fear, and ask what faithfulness requires now. Prayer does not have to manufacture calm or predict the answer. It can tell the truth about desire, duty, and limit. If uncertainty is causing severe distress, consuming much of the day, or driving behavior that feels impossible to interrupt, seek qualified mental health support. A video cannot assess or treat that situation. Immediate medical, legal, or physical danger also requires appropriate local help, not delayed reflection. 3 movements are enough to remember. Name the unknown, take the action that belongs to you, and give checking a real purpose. The answer can remain unresolved without becoming your authority. Sooner or later, there will be another quiet screen, another unanswered question, another hour when the future refuses to explain itself. Your hand may still reach for the phone. The goal is not to become someone who never feels that pull. It is to notice which voice is guiding the hand. What is truly yours to do? What boundary has pressure begun to make negotiable? What guarantee are you asking the next action to provide? Perhaps the faithful step is to act. Perhaps it is to ask for help. Perhaps it is to leave the message alone until morning. Do what responsibility requires. Then let the future remain what it has always been, entrusted to God, but never owned by you.